The emergency klaxon had been silent for 3 hours, but Commander Arya's hand still trembled as she surveyed the wreckage of her shuttle. The diplomatic vessel had taken a micrometeorite strike during the jump through Karveth space, leaving her stranded on the forest moon of Dravik Prime. The ship's AI was dead, the hull breached in 7 places, and her quantum resonator, the heart of the faster-than-light drive, had shattered into 1,000 glittering fragments. She was alone. Or so she thought. The rustling in the violet undergrowth made her reach for her plasma cutter, but what emerged wasn't the adult Karvethian predator she feared. Instead, a small creature, no larger than a Terran wolf cub, padded into the clearing. Its scales shimmered between silver and deep crimson, and its 6 eyes fixed on her with unsettling intelligence. Behind it, 2 more cubs appeared, their movements cautious but curious. Arya had read the xenobiology reports. Karvethian young were supposed to be vicious, their hunting instincts honed from birth. These cubs should have attacked her on sight. Instead, the lead one, she would later learn his designation was Threx, approached the scattered resonator fragments with what could only be described as fascination. "Hey, little one," Arya said softly, lowering her tool. "Those are pretty, aren't they? But they're also extremely dangerous," Threx chittered, a sound that the shuttle's damaged translator barely processed as laughter. The cub picked up a fragment with surprising delicacy in its triple-jointed claws and held it up to catch the light of Dravik Prime's twin suns. Then, to Arya's astonishment, Threx placed the fragment down and began arranging others around it in a precise geometric pattern. The pattern matched the resonator's original configuration. Arya's breath caught. You understand the structure?" The other 2 cubs joined in, their movements coordinated despite no apparent communication. They sorted fragments by size, by the angle of their crystalline faces, by the faint glow that still pulsed within some pieces. Arya watched, mesmerized, as the cubs created a 3-dimensional map of the shattered resonator, using nothing but spatial intuition and collaborative instinct. "Incredible," she whispered. Then, moving slowly so as not to startle them, she retrieved her field repair kit. "Okay, little friends, if you're willing to help, I've got an idea that's probably going to get me court-martialed for unauthorized cross-species cooperation." What followed was the strangest repair operation in recorded human history. Arya couldn't fit into the narrow access tubes where the resonator housing was located. Her human frame was too broad, her joints too limited. But the cubs could. Using hand signals, sketches in the dirt, and an improvised system of clicks and whistles, Arya taught Threx and his siblings the basics of quantum resonator assembly. The cubs proved to be natural engineers. Their predatory instincts, honed for tracking prey through complex 3-dimensional environments, translated perfectly to understanding spatial relationships and structural integrity. Threx, in particular, demonstrated an uncanny ability to anticipate which fragment needed to go where. He would chirp at Arya, gesture with his tail, and she would pass him the appropriate piece coated in nanobond adhesive. The 2 other cubs, she named them Silver and Ember for their scale colorations, served as assistants, retrieving tools, stabilizing fragments, and even learning to activate the molecular welder that Arya had rigged for their smaller claws. They worked through the night, the cubs' bioluminescent markings providing light in the darkened shuttle. By dawn, the impossible had been achieved. The quantum resonator hummed with renewed power, its fragments bonded in a configuration that was 70% original design and 30% improvised genius. Arya ran the diagnostics 3 times, unable to believe the readings. The resonator wasn't just functional. It was operating at 112% efficiency. "How?" she muttered, examining the structural scans. Then she saw it. The cubs' additions hadn't just repaired the damage. They'd optimized the energy flow patterns. The predatory efficiency they applied to hunting had been applied to energy distribution, eliminating redundancies and creating new pathways that human engineers had never considered. Threx chirped proudly, his scales rippling through a rainbow of colors. "You magnificent little genius," Arya said, tears streaming down her face. "You just revolutionized quantum engineering." The real shock came when Arya returned to the fleet. The Admiralty Board was prepared to reprimand her for the diplomatic disaster her crash had caused. Instead, they found themselves staring at revolutionary repair data and 3 young Karvethians who had become unlikely celebrities. Within weeks, the Predator Protocol, as it became known, spread through half the fleet. Human engineers began partnering with young Carvethians, whose spatial intuition and collaborative hunting instincts made them perfect for complex repairs in confined spaces. The adult Carvethians, initially suspicious of allowing their young near-human vessels, became enthusiastic partners when they saw the respect and care humans showed their cubs. Threx himself became the youngest ever recipient of the Galactic Innovation Medal, accepting it with a series of proud chirps that the translators rendered as, "Mother said humans were soft." Humans are soft, but humans are also smart pack. We hunt problems together now. The method revolutionized ship repair across the galaxy. What humans brought to the partnership was systematic thinking and technical knowledge. What the Carvethian cubs brought was intuitive spatial awareness and fearless creativity. Together, they achieved what neither species could accomplish alone. 6 months after her crash, Commander Arya stood on the bridge of her new flagship, the Harmony, watching Threx and a team of engineers, both human and Carvethian, perform a routine maintenance check. The cub had grown larger now, his scales darkening toward adult crimson, but he still worked with the same joyful enthusiasm he'd shown in that forest clearing. "Commander," her first officer said, approaching with a data pad. "Fleet Command reports that repair times across the Coalition have decreased by 43% since implementing the Predator Protocol. Efficiency is up across the board." Arya smiled, watching Threx chirp instructions to a human engineer twice his size. "You know what the real breakthrough was, Lieutenant? We stopped assuming we had all the answers. Sometimes the best solution comes from the most unexpected teacher." Threx looked up, caught her eye, and his scales flashed in what she'd learned was a Carvethian smile. Then he returned to his work, a predator cub who'd helped bridge 2 civilizations, one quantum resonator at a time.